Hi guys, Richard here at NZ Entrepreneur, and today on Innovation Nation, I'm stoked to be joined by Boyd Warren. He's the General Manager of Business and Innovation at ChristchurchNZ. Hope I got that right, Boyd. Hi, and thanks for joining us today.
Kia ora. Thanks, Richard. It's neat to talk to you.
Yeah, cool. So Boyd, could you please just start by telling us a bit about your role and indeed the broader role of ChristchurchNZ?
Absolutely. So ChristchurchNZ is an economic development agency. We're what they call a TEED, so tourism, events and economic development, but I like to say we're an EDTE, economic development first, and tourism and events are just part of the economic development toolkit. So our ambition is sustainable economic growth and bold ambition for Ōtautahi Christchurch, and my role as General Manager of Innovation and Business Growth encompasses a whole range of work programs that drive towards that ambition for sustainable economic growth and ambition for Christchurch. So within my portfolio, I have the Regional Screen Office, I have the Antarctic Office. Christchurch is one of only 5 global Antarctic gateway cities. I also look after the labour market and skills team, our very important Supernodes and Clusters team, business attraction, and also really important, more important than ever at the moment, our business growth team that delivers the regional business partners, COVID advisory fund and capability building on behalf of NZTE and Callaghan. So a big portfolio, but ultimately all about growing the competitiveness and relevance of Christchurch businesses and saving and growing jobs as well. So that's it in a nutshell. Hopefully it wasn't too jargon filled.
I mean, that is, like you say, it's a big portfolio. And, you know, there's a couple of things that stood out to me there. Particularly, you mentioned something called Supernode and Clusters. What's that all about?
Yeah, so Supernodes are a brand for our regional clusters, and they're clusters of industry and private and public sector entities where we've got inherent regional strengths like food, fibre and agri-tech, for instance, aerospace and future transport, health tech and resilient communities, and also high-tech services. So those 4 supernodes or large clusters of industry and other entities where Canterbury's got some unique strengths, they're focus areas for our work program. So as an economic development agency, we're seeking to leverage and activate those strengths so that we can, you know, fulfill that ambition that I set out at the start.
Tell us a little bit about historically, what's been the driver of Christchurch, the wider Canterbury area's growth and reliance?
Look, Canterbury's blessed with a strong, you know, rural hinterland, and you know, the Canterbury Plains, underneath those, there's about 80–90% of New Zealand's groundwater, and it's also, you know, it's flat too. So that's why we lead the way in cropping and arable farming. We've also got a, you know, Lincoln, New Zealand's only land-based university. So we've got some real inherent advantages, and of course the climate as well, to be great at agriculture. So agriculture has been a key driver for a long time, and it will continue to be, particularly the technologies that support, you know, the future of agriculture. The other key historic driver of Christchurch's economy has been manufacturing. You know, we were very, very lucky that the Tate family set up here after the Second World War and started manufacturing here, and then a whole lot of other, you know, manufacturing businesses sprung up around that, and now, you know, we're overrepresented in terms of share of New Zealand's exports for electrical and mechanical manufacturing. So agriculture, manufacturing, but also health is really strong here because, you know, we've got the largest tertiary health, you know, cluster system in the South Island. We've got an Otago University Medical Campus, we've got the Ara Nursing School, and we've got Te Papa Hauora, which is an amazing public-private new campus that's been built down there by the hospital. So, and of course, you know, I couldn't be Christchurch without talking about construction post-earthquake. And we did have a construction boom post-earthquake, but that's tapering off. And, you know, that's why these supernodes are really, really important for us to reposition for a, you know, smart, sustainable future.
Rod Oram, the journalist and economic sort of commentator, once famously said, you know, New Zealand's not going to get ahead by just milking twice as many cows. And, you know, what I'm hearing here is that in Christchurch, you know, you've really focused in on what some of those potential areas of new growth are.
Absolutely.
Talking about things like, you know, the supernodes. So has that been a deliberate sort of program that ChristchurchNZ has sort of undertaken over the last few years, or how did that all sort of start?
Well, clustering is not a new economic development concept. In fact, it's well proven around the world. And actually, New Zealand's really lucky to have, you know, the leader in clustering thinking who's expatriated to Nelson. And he works with a lot of the EDAs. His name's E4 Fox Williams. So, you know, when you can get, and the basic premise is when you can get, when you've got some regional strengths, you know, like some natural capital, you've got some, you know, talented entrepreneurs working in a particular industry, and then that attracts other, you know, like-minded entrepreneurs and businesses. And then the key for an EDA is to get those sometimes competing businesses to form some sort of co-opetition where they do have some shared ambitions, where they might share a supply chain, for instance, just like the major dairy companies do out of New Zealand. Rather than going on their own, they know they've got to get to market. So why not join forces with our competitor and do it, you know, smarter and more profitably? So clustering's not a new economic development initiative, but it's one that we believe in Christchurch and Canterbury that we can really leverage because of those inherent strengths we've already got. Look,
we all know Christchurch, Canterbury had a hard time over the last few years, least of which is this global pandemic thing. Do you think that these challenges have helped change or shape the attitude of Christchurch locals, Cantabrians in general? You know, these really testing experiences that a lot of people have had to deal with, you know, over the last almost decade. Does that play into, in your mind, I don't know, any sort of strength in terms of business or resilience or just, you know, not taking things for granted? I as an observer, I suspect that might be the case, but what's your view?
Yeah, absolutely, you've nailed it. I think because of the adversity that we've had in the past decade, that we don't take things for granted, and we are really connected, you know, and we do have a resilience that allows us to bounce back and particularly adapt to new circumstances, which is obviously, you know, innovation is adapting in many ways. So, yeah, I think those experiences, you know, awful as they are, have produced some silver linings to what are dark clouds, and they are that our business community and our innovation ecosystems are really, really connected. Everyone knows each other, and you know, we know the benefit of networking and relationships, and we do have an ability to adapt quite quickly, and you know, that sort of thing does just come through experience, and you know, it's hard-won experience in this case. Just on the not taking things for granted, you know, we've been really surprised at how well the Christchurch and Canterbury economies performed as we've come out of COVID. And, you know, we've always sort of known that our economy is quite diverse. manufacturing, agriculture, health, professional services, construction, all quite even in terms of contribution, and tourism, of course, as well. So, July and August, our economic activity and consumer spend was actually ahead of July and August last year, which is, frankly remarkable. So, we now don't take that diversity for granted, and I think that's something that has come out of, the decade of, events that you've just described.
All right. Well, given the events of 2020, I can't really skip talking about the COVID-19 situation. Can you give us a bit of an insight as to, from an economic development level or response level, what are some of the things that Christchurch NZ has sort of done to try and help mitigate or even turn it to, I don't know, you talked about silver linings. I'm not sure if there really is one from something like what we've just gone through, but what did it look like when that all went down for you guys, and what are some of the things that you've identified and are starting to sort of have rolled out or are rolling out as a result?
Yeah, well, it was important that we, phase our COVID response into, right now, sort of medium term and then long term. And we've tried to have a future focused innovation lens across as much of our economic development response as we can. But obviously, in partnership with the local Chamber of Commerce and government, my team's delivered the Regional Business Partners COVID Advisory Fund, and we've helped over 3,000 Canterbury businesses access support in the forms of cash flow forecasting, HR advice, structuring, marketing, adapting to new markets and that sort of thing. And that's been, really, really arduous, repetitive work, but at the same time, really, really satisfying and meaningful, because it's been the difference between businesses, surviving or not. And of course, our local Chamber of Commerce has, throughout that time, kept connecting up businesses with Callaghan Innovation as well. So, that innovation has kept happening. Probably another couple of really neat things we've done is increase our investment into the local innovation ecosystem by putting in place multi-year $1 million partnerships with Te Haka, which is a startup incubator based at Ara Institute of Technology, and also at ThinkLab, which is another startup and scale-up incubator based at University of Canterbury. So, by making those investments, and what that's done is it's guaranteed, a certain number of innovative businesses will be provided with, incubation support, scale-up support over the next 3 years. Before we made that investment, there was no guarantee that from the city's point of view that, there would be that support and output of innovative businesses in the city. So that's been a really important future job sustainability investment that we've made. We've also partnered with Ministry of Social Development to do an unemployment to self-employment incubator, which is really exciting. What else have we done? Well, we're very lucky to have a very strong and organised iwi and collection of papatipu runanga here in Christchurch, and we've co-invested with them in an iwi skills hub to make sure that local rangatahi are getting into the right type of jobs for the future. Well, we've done a lot. We've also just recently made an investment into mentoring students from low decile skills into STEM careers. So again, and this is all feeding into that Supernodes economic development play that we've been talking about, because we need talent to feed those supernodes, those future growth industries. So we've got to start right back in schools. We haven't stopped our business attraction work throughout. We've been, telling the Christchurch story to key audiences that we want to relocate here or invest here throughout COVID. You're obviously aware of the health tech challenge and the tremendous response we've had to that with, nearly 150 amazing entrants. We're doubling down, and we've just signed up for a food, fibre and agri-tech challenge and bringing Grow Agri Summit here in May next year. So, and there's a whole range of other, response, and reposition the economy initiatives that we've done that we hope to be able to announce soon. But you can see the breadth of the work there and how we've responded. And not just us, it's all done in partnership, of course, with iwi, council, local businesses, tertiaries, incubators, KiwiNet. We're lucky to have KiwiNet based in Christchurch as well, and the Crown Research Institute. So we've got an amazing ecosystem that really works together. Yeah.
That is amazing. And, whatever it is you guys are doing, it seems to be that there's like absolutely a sort of a buzz going on, and there's some really cool stories coming out of Christchurch from startups and existing businesses just innovating, in their industries. So yeah, it's quite fascinating to hear what it takes in behind the scenes to create that environment for innovation, growth, and super cool to hear.
Cool. Yeah.
For you personally, Boyd, or maybe on behalf of your team, what have been some of the highlights, I guess, for 2020 then, in terms of economic development, innovation, business growth?
We've talked briefly about the Health Tech Challenge, which has been amazing, and also the partnerships with Te Haka and Think Lab. I'm really, really pleased that a couple of Canterbury businesses were in the finals for the KiwiNet Awards a couple of weeks ago, and that was Zincovery and Invert Robotics. So really, really cool to see innovation being commercialised and solving, not just business problems, but, environmental problems as well. So that's always neat when you see that national recognition for, a couple of local entrepreneurs. And I'm really proud of our regional business partners team as well. And I know they've, it's arduous for them, but gee whiz, it's meaningful work delivering that COVID advisory fund and the capability building funding as well. It's just, really, really heartening and heartwarming to see the commitment that our Christchurch NZ and Chamber RBP team have got to that task.
Can I ask you, Boyd, very simple question. What do you love about Christchurch and Canterbury?
Hey tangata, hey tangata, hey tangata. The people, as I said, we've got a really connected, business and innovation ecosystem. So, and that makes, going to work every day and doing what we do cool. We've also got an amazing lifestyle. You can blend really neat work and business opportunities with a great outdoor lifestyle. So people, opportunities, lifestyle.
So just to wrap up here, Boyd, have you got any last sort of messages you'd like to share with people of Canterbury or indeed, wider New Zealand?
Absolutely. Well, Otatai Christchurch, it truly is New Zealand's base camp for exploration. As I said, we're only one and only 5 Antarctic gateway cities. We're the stepping off point for the Southern Alps and, the rest of the amazing South Island, including Wanaka. And we've got, as if you're a resident, you've got so much to be proud of and to enjoy. So I hope that you're an ambassador and an advocate for our region. And, if you're an entrepreneur or business person somewhere else in New Zealand, Australia, or the rest of the world, come visit us, come do business, and I reckon you'll quickly become an ambassador or an advocate too. So, yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Boyd. And look, I really look forward to catching up in 2021 and, seeing what's come out in that year, because you've already done so much. So thanks very much for joining us today.
Thanks, Richard. Take care.